In the 60s, this street was jammed. Thousands and thousands of young people that flocked to this area that just overwhelmed the resources. And it was psychedelic, rock and roll, and then it turned very bad. The speed, the hardcore addiction, everything went down.
I didn't turn much down, but heroin is the drug that destroyed me.
I've been a drug user since I was a teen. In my 20s, when I began to feel the incredible closing in of my world, which was what heroin addiction does for you. It just narrows your world. I began to feel that I wanted out.
I had heard about the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic all the way back in Cincinnati. So that was where I went to get clean and sober.
It was just known on the streets. One of the places you can go to get help was Haight-Ashbury Free Clinics. And so up I walked the flight of stairs, and it was just different. People were friendly and they were welcoming, and I didn't feel like I was judged.
They were completely non-judgmental, which was amazing because I was judging myself really harshly.
Had I not gone to Haight-Ashbury Free Clinics, I would have used dope until I was dead.
Things were happening in the Haight, and there was hundreds and thousands of kids living on the streets, and nobody would take care of them.
And he found this collection of youngsters desperately in need of medical assistance, and he gave it to them unhesitantly.
Everybody he knew told him he was throwing away his career to get involved with the clinic. So it was certainly not a financial decision for him to move in the direction of public service.
I basically started a free clinic, practiced 24 hours a day without malpractice insurance, risk everything, and it was so out of character. In fact, one of my professors of medicine said, "David, where did you go wrong? You were such a promising young medical student."
And all his peers went off to become surgeons and specialists and things that were probably much more traditional, but not David, right? He goes into this renegade form of social medicine.
So this was the center of it. This is where it all started. Everything came out of this place. And this was David E. Smith, MD, and Associates doing business as the Haight-Ashbury Clinic. It was just responding to a crisis with a change in consciousness.
David didn't call it volunteerism. David called it doing life work.
It is not at all anything I intended to do, expected to do, even should have done in retrospect. I just happened to have the skills, being a physician and a drug expert. We found a place at 558 Clayton Street. It ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, saw 250 patients a day at a time in which they were arresting doctors for doing exactly the same thing in Marin County.
He was really rendering a service to a group of people that could have very easily ended up at the emergency rooms, or they could have ended up dying. So he was appreciated. And the law enforcement people appreciated him just as well, because in some cases, it was their kids whom he was treating.
Although there was a lot of opposition, there was a lot of support. Bill Graham, Willie Brown, soon after that, Dianne Feinstein. So it was a total miracle that it even survived, and it survived for a number of factors, including the original Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic was built on rock and roll. Janis Joplin, Carlos Santana, Grateful Dead lived just a short distance from here, and they did benefits and performed in the park. The beginnings of the free clinic movement was, in effect, a civil rights movement for health care. It was free from judgment, free from prejudice. We also incorporated addiction as a disease, and an addict had a right to treatment. So addiction medicine has now evolved into a board-certified specialty. Healthcare reform and parity under President Obama. One of its slogans is, healthcare is a right, not a privilege. But that philosophy started in the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic in the 60s.
So the kind of experiences that the clinic provided helped pave the way, ultimately for Obamacare.
As my minister, Cecil Williams, says, you've got to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. You know, I don't just contribute to the community, I'm part of the community. Recovery from addiction, the individuals not only save their own life, they not only save their families horrible pain and suffering, but they contribute to society.
It's because of that I was eventually able to achieve a much longer-term recovery, went back to school, went to Harvard for a doctorate, and came back to work in the field.
He has made a huge difference in my life and a lot of people's lives.
There are thousands and thousands of families who can count David Smith as having saved the life of their child and saved their family.
As the Grateful Dead said, it's been a long, strange trip, and I'm still here.